impossible. No.
Outstanding.
Yes!
Level cleared.
Let's begin! Beat Blaster is a runner game, where you must shoot and avoid obstacles. You can actually slow down to a stop, but doing so will cost you precious seconds, which you don't want to do too often, as you are on a time limit. But it is a good idea to slow down every now and then, and take the course in front of you in, as you can't move backwards. Your gun can both single fire and automatic fire, but holding down the trigger for too long will cause the gun to overheat, which requires a second or two to recharge. New types of obstacles to avoid appear every level or so. You really do have to always be on your toes in this game, and your aiming has to be quick and precise, as enemies hide behind shields and red buttons appear on walls that must be shot to activate doors. Each time you face an obstacle again, you constantly feel like your aiming and dodging skills are improving. You find that sweet spot where the enemy's bottom part is just showing from behind the shield, and you're also able to quickly spot and shoot the correct buttons on the walls. But you're never fully at ease, especially with the buttons on the walls, as sometimes more than one button must be shot. The game really demands your full attention at all times, and the further you get in the game, the more types of obstacles are included in each level. Some of the previous obstacles that you are now comfortable with do appear again, but one of the new obstacles can really change how you approach the previous ones, like the moving floors that push you in a certain direction. You will die a lot in this game, as only one collision with anything results in a game over, and you must restart the stage again. When you do collide with something, everything pauses, and you're briefly able to see what the cause of your failure was. The levels are randomly generated, and unfair deaths do occur. It can be very frustrating to get very close to the end of a level, only to have a poorly placed obstacle be the cause of your death. Sometimes they are simply unavoidable. The random placements could certainly do with some tweaking. To ease the frustration from a death though, is the fact that there are no loading times. When you die, you instantly return to the hub and can replay the level again. Shooting the level you want to play pushes you straight into it, and you're dodging and shooting your way again in no time at all. The graphics are not the best ever. It isn't the sharpest of pictures, but unlike other games that have a lot of detailed textures, this world does not. So the simplistic, futuristic style can slightly get away with not having pro support. But hopefully we will see a pro patch in the future. Visually throughout the levels, not a whole lot changes, apart from the different obstacles you face. Some levels do contain different colour palettes, but overall, there is quite a lot of deja vu going on from stage to stage. The audio is a whole different story though. Each of the 30 levels contains a brand new track, and I have to say, there wasn't one stage where I didn't really feel the need to turn the music down in the options menu, and I'm not really a massive music fan. It was quite hard not to get into the rhythm, especially as things in the world move to the beat. Audio bars on walls go up and down, orbs dance, and spinning blades stop and start. I'm sure other things move to the beat too, but these were the main things that stuck out to me during all the chaos. Each level does have online leaderboards attached, which does help the game's replayability, although getting a high score will certainly depend on how lucky you are with the randomly generated levels. There's quite a few things that you are scored on. Orbs can be picked up and targets can be shot for points, so the randomised placements could certainly give you an advantage or disadvantage when score chasing. The thing that you are heavily scored for though is how fast you complete a level, and this is where the real thrill of Beat Blaster comes in. Zooming through each level is incredibly exciting, as you never know what is coming up next, and you really do have to make split-second decisions, like when a door flings open to show the next section of the track. Enemies could be anywhere, and if you want to keep up the pace, they will require lightning-fast reflexes in both movement and aiming to get past, especially later on in the game. You can choose from 3 different movement types, as long as you use certain controllers. When playing with the moves, you can only use either tilt or move, which is done by using the headset's motion sensor. These two options actually feel very similar to each other in terms terms of how you move your actual head, but the tilt option is very sensitive, and to be honest, the game is unplayable with this selected. The move option is doable, as the sensitivity isn't bad at all, but having to move your head forward and at a slight angle is just a bit uncomfortable, especially when you should be facing straight forwards to see the upcoming track. By far the best controller and movement option is either the DualShock controller or aim controller, as you are able to use the analog sticks to move. The DualShock uses the motion sensor to aim, which does so quite well. You can also use the headset tilt and move options with them, but honestly, the analog sticks are the way to go. If you're not using analog sticks for movement, I would imagine you're going to have an incredibly tough time in the game's later levels. It took me 3.5 hours to get to level 23, so I still have 7 levels left, but the game is getting quite hard now, and I thought it was best to get my thoughts on it out there now, because these final levels will likely take me a while to do. Completion times will vary quite a bit with this title, as the randomly generated levels will play a massive part, as well as each gamer's skill levels. Now this game has one of the simplest trophy lists I've ever had to cover for a PSVR game. There is 30 trophies to achieve, and each one is tied to completing a level in the game. Beating all 30 levels will reward you with a platinum. It's a bit of a shame that there isn't any tied to high score chasing, but the fact that you get a trophy at the end of each stage does make the game feel rewarding, even more so when it has been a very tough level to get through. This is a hard game, and is certainly aimed towards more skilled gamers. The unfair deaths that occur can be off-putting at times, but I was able to slightly look past them, simply because the game is so much fun, and the fact that I was able to blast straight back into the game again without loading times ensured that I was always engaged with the gameplay. How far you get through a level is shown as a percentage, so that's always urging you on to have just one more attempt. At times, I had to stop myself from playing. It's incredibly addictive. I do suggest you only get the game if you intend on playing with the DualShock or aim controller, as the moves require the headset's motion sensor, and it's obviously not as easy to use as the analog sticks. The thrill and sense of speed is lost quite a bit when playing with the moves. Honestly, this is some of the most fun I've had with the aim controller in a very long time. So if you want a reason to dust off your aim, this is it, and you will absolutely feel your aiming skills increase. When you finally beat one of the later difficult levels, the sense of accomplishment is amazing. I actually waved my hands in the air quite a few times at the finish line, even when I wasn't live streaming, simply because I was so immersed in the intense gameplay. Beat Blaster may not look like much, but gameplay wise, it absolutely hooked you in, and I will be returning to this game again. I'm certainly going back to this game to get its platinum trophy. I really do think it's one to be proud of and one to show off, and even if you're not a trophy hunter, don't miss out on the thrills this game has to offer. As always, if you found this review helpful, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more PSVR content.